Okay.
So, but this actually all ties in.
Yeah.
It's because
We're a professional podcast. This stuff doesn't usually happen.
I'm taking it as a sign for me to shut up.
Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Half a Nice Day podcast with your host, Joshua.
And Janine.
And today I'm very excited to have on the show one of the funniest people in Dubai. He's a man with many followers, talents, and accents as well. He's definitely the most diverse comic we have seen here in a very long time as well. And he's sitting with us here today. Let's give him a warm Half a Nice Day welcome to Shawn Chidiac, aka My Parents Are Divorced. Let's go. Welcome to the show.
You had to breathe in for the surname. You're like, I don't know.
I had to look at him for some, Welcome to the show.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for being
You
here.
forgot to mention my bipolar and schizophrenia as part of that list.
Part of a long list.
Yeah.
Yeah, part of a long list which we don't have time for, but are you really bipolar?
No. I mean, maybe. I mean, who knows? You don't know until you know.
Yeah, yeah.
Undiagnosed.
Have you been
Yeah.
tested for anything?
AIDS. No kidding. No, my mom grew up on the firm belief that if you get like tested for something, you already look like you're broken. So I definitely have ADHD. Put A and any D together, and I probably have them.
Okay.
Yeah, and so my mom was like, "You don't need any doctor to tell you anything. Just focus." I'm like, "Well, you see, that's the fucking problem. I can't focus."
Just focus and get enough sunlight. I think
Literally,
that's
it was sleep. Stop playing PlayStation because that's why.
yeah.
Right.
And it's like kids get distracted. So she was, which I kind of agree with her in the sense like you don't need to label everything. Like, and I always knew growing up, I always knew something was wrong with me. Like I have dyslexia. Like
Okay.
and I used to think it was because and then my mom was like, it's because you make so many jokes about how Arabs speak. Because I used to make fun of Arabs all the time. And so I would say P's and B's like reversed.
Okay.
And so
Yeah.
I remember it was my geography exam in like 8th grade. I had written my whole like thesis on like how like valleys are formed, and I replaced every P with a B, and I didn't notice it.
No.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Officially on an essay.
Yeah, so I was on a test.
But did they let you pass just because? Or-
No, so they're like, we don't know if this was like on purpose or because I used to joke around a lot. So my teacher was like, she was such a sweetheart. I remember her name was like Miss Hickey. I had like the biggest crush on her. And she knew like all the like the kids in the class like had a huge crush on her. So she was like, okay, you can't retake this one, but like we'll figure out something for you. And I was like,
You're good.
Yeah.
So we know it started off like way young. All
Oh,
of
yeah,
these
yeah.
P's and B's that you have been
I started like I've been
interchanging.
my brain's been cross-wired for a long time.
So you've always been a comedian then?
I've always been an asshole.
Said it in a nicer way.
Josh is being polite.
I don't think comedian. Like I till now I still struggle to like. I think people throw in comedian because it's the only title that is, like fitting for someone who
Apt
makes
for it,
jokes.
yeah.
But I hate the fucking. Oh, sorry. I don't know if I'm allowed to swear on this.
It's okay.
You can.
Okay. It literally just happened to me yesterday. I was on the show. And I was like, you know what I fucking really think about? And I was like, can I swear? He's like, I was like, oh, fuck it, whatever.
It's
was
Too
like-
late now.
I was like, do you edit these? He's like, yeah. I was like, okay, then you can bleep them out. It's fine. It's people who don't edit that I'm like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
I don't want to give you a headache. But yeah, it's just like there's no other. What do you give someone a title who makes jokes? Like you have to be a comedian.
Humorist, I think,
Or
is
like
another one. But
that sounds like
that
a
doesn't
sex
sound.
fetish.
Yeah, I know it doesn't sound. Really
That sounds like someone's like, make me laugh. No, but like, what do you say? Like a jester? Like you can't. There's nothing.
Yeah, jesters are no longer
jesters.
a thing of these days.
But at the same time, everyone's just using the word comedian as well, very loosely.
Yeah, completely.
Yeah, but then that's why there's like stand-up comedian. There's like, I don't know, a comedian.
Sketch
Comic
Yeah.
actor.
Yeah, so there's always the
Yeah,
word
Yeah, that's true.
prior to the word comedian.
That's true. But yeah, I feel like it's just when you meet someone and they go like, for example, like, oh, this is Shawn, he's a comedian. The first thing people are gonna ask,
Make me laugh.
or
Yeah.
tell me a
Tell
joke.
me a joke.
Either thing, either or.
Yeah.
And it's like, and I always go like, dance for me, monkey. Yeah. And then it always usually is a woman who always goes like, oh, why? Are you nervous? Or wait, and it's just like they're so confrontational. Women find it so easy to be confrontational because there's no repercussion.
Exactly.
With guys, it's always like, are you sure you want to go there? Like,
Yeah.
you never know what can like get like a nice guy to his bad side or a bad side to a worse side.
Right.
But women are just like, oh, make me laugh. No, it's this.
Yeah,
Are you under pressure? Why? What's wrong with you? Is it? Oh, you think you're not funny? Let's unpack that insecurity. And it's like, what the fuck? This is like 2 minutes into like a conversation.
No, I get it a lot. Like
Yeah.
especially like when I'm on stage and I see people not laughing, and like immediately my first thing in my mind is like, They just look at me like, make me laugh, you joke machine
Yeah,
or something. And
That's the one thing about stand-up. Like when you're up on stage, right? If you see it on the foreheads, make me laugh.
yeah.
Mm.
And it's like,
That's why I don't know, guys. I don't know how you guys do it because I find it very daunting
well, I
to
don't.
be up on stage.
You do it without even knowing.
I do stand-up once every like 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. It's like,
You guys are out there doing it.
it's like
every
Michael
weekend.
Bublé coming out, for Christmas or something. It's just like Shawn coming out, just like, oh, it's Q1 now. So
Why is that though?
So much insecurity. Like, I don't think I'm funny. So I like, and I don't want to face the reality that other people think that as well. So when I go on stage and I'm looking at everyone and I'm just like, ooh, I can hear my thoughts. Like,
Right.
can you hear my thoughts? Are you listen? So, but then it's that exact reason of why I still go every time to make sure that that could be my belief. It could be my idea, but it shouldn't be my belief. So I think about that all the time. And now there's a show coming up on the 21st. And I think about like, what the fuck am I going to do? Because I don't know how to write. I really want to learn how to write because I feel like if you know how to write, at least you have something to fall back on. You have your material, you can do a bit of crowd work, you can step back out of it. But when you kind of just don't know what you're doing, which is me, you're there like you don't know what you're going to do. And I feel like if I write and I fail, it's worse than if I improv and I fail.
okay.
Because writing is really attempting, and so like my insecurity of rejection or fear of failure is immediately heightened. Versus if I just go there and I
Improv
I
something.
improv and it doesn't work, I'm like, well, it was on the spot. And like I
You have a
posted a little
reason.
snippet, and some guy commented, he's like, I was so disappointed at the last show. He was just improving the whole time. He didn't take it seriously.
Wow.
And then it hurt for a little bit. Then I was like, wait, people fucking pay specifically for improv stuff. Like, so I was like, I used to take things very personal. Like
Right.
everything was a personal like itch for me to scratch, until I started like detaching the idea from the perspectives of what you make. Like if you like what makes me laugh, 100% sure doesn't make a lot of people laugh. Like I genuinely don't laugh. I genuinely don't. I giggle and like I find things funny, but and I don't think many people have heard me like, you know,
Belly
when you
laugh.
yeah, like when you're like you're
yeah.
wheezing. And yesterday, maybe TMI, but I was on my poop stool, which knees need to be above the hips.
She has that as
That's
well.
me.
It's healthy
Yes,
pooping,
it is.
We love healthy bowel
Yes.
movements. And there was a video. I really want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And like I'm not gonna laugh anymore because I genuinely laughed my soul out, but I don't.
So you're by yourself in this.
Oh,
world.
I
Okay,
mean,
okay.
who'd you poop with?
Yeah, I know.
I don't know.
should have thought before I asked the
I know
question.
you guys are married, but I don't know how that situation works.
Sometimes. Already laughing.
Dude, she died.
So it's not her falling that's funny.
Oh my god.
It's her face and how excited she was, and it's her hitting her ass first, and like her legs kind of like straightening out, and it's like that bounce before like, because I know the feeling of falling down without expecting it. So I don't know, and I find like physical comedy.
right.
How many times have you watched that reel?
I
Is the
watched
question.
it. I can't remember, but I started crying, and like I was laughing so hard, I was literally crying, and I was like, oh my god, I have to mute the song because like I now know the timing of when she falls. And
I mean, you're already laughing when you were.
I was really, and I was like, I'm not gonna laugh. Like I watched it too many times for me to laugh at it. But I genuinely, I've literally shit myself laughing. Like, it was so funny. And it's just, it's not like I feel bad that she maybe got hurt or something, but she like literally disappeared, which.
And the camera guy just standing there, like not even moving.
I want to know if she's still alive. That's the
She's
question.
definitely fine. She's definitely fine. But that's what killed me. So, for example, this shit, like
Yeah.
you guys will giggle at it, but I literally
Yeah,
died. Like
you
I was
lost your
about to
mind.
die. Yeah.
Yeah.
So based on that, I kind of like I was like I finally started to disassociate myself from everyone's preferences, because again, not everyone's gonna enjoy things. In fact, not only will they not enjoy it, they'll go out of their way to make sure
Yeah.
that they want you to know that they dislike you now because you did something that they don't like. So when you kind of learn a little bit about the human psyche, but not too deep, because if you want to go too deep, you read into too many things. You latch onto stuff that has nothing to do with anything anymore.
Right.
But when you just understand a little bit of how that works, and then you get to say, okay, this is the box that they fall under. This is my box. Sometimes our box will coincide, and sometimes they don't, and that's okay. And so that's the reason why I started doing stand-up more often, is because I wanted to challenge myself to deal with the instant acceptance or instant rejection, right?
Right.
So there are gonna be some people who in the shows like they won't laugh, and it's very narcissistic to like, you're like, why aren't you laughing? But I do find people who aren't laughing, and I single them out. I'm like, what's wrong? Like, you having a good time? And they usually say, yeah. And like, tell your fucking face.
Yeah.
Show
No,
me
but
that you're laughing.
stand up, right? You get the instant feedback after
Yeah.
like a punchline. So if you see people laughing, okay, you know you did well.
Yeah.
And if you don't, then yeah.
Is that
But-
why you say you're more comfortable with putting out like reels and content in that format?
Not at all.
Because no.
No, reels
Yeah.
are just because I had no time. I had like a full-time job, so my work would basically be my whole day. I get home super late, shower, change, go out, or if I can, I'll work out. But that was like never like a consistent thing, so that I'm not gonna pretend like, yeah, so on my schedule is the work.
Cold plunge.
I cold plunge. I write for 45 minutes. I research how to respect women in every way, shape, or form, and then I would not really live like a proper balanced life, and you know, not everyone's living a balanced life regardless. So
Yeah.
throw that in the mix that everyone's struggling.
Yeah.
Put terrible time management, like, and all the D's and A's together, on top of like not knowing how to manage stress properly. So I usually end up just like collapsing and just like watching a movie and like binge eating.
Right.
So which is like the classic. Everyone does the same thing, you know.
Yeah. We're all in there.
yeah.
Just Netflixing
And-
it out.
Yeah, and I was in a very like cozy relationship, so it was very easy to like just, you know, especially when you have, you know, you just like, we just watch a
Yeah.
movie, and yeah, it's comfortable,
Yeah,
it's
yeah,
safe,
yeah,
you know, and
yeah.
you kind of mute the day away,
Yeah.
which means you don't really progress with your life. Like
Right,
if you're not
right.
like actively thinking about what's the steps you have to take. So then I started taking smaller steps, which meant I had to film on the weekends.
Okay.
So it became that my work week was my work week, and I would try to squeeze in whatever I could during those couple of hours after work, because I'd usually finish around 8 or 9.
Wow. That's
And then yeah, I mean, I had to juggle. Also, it's my fault, like my time management. I'd be like, throughout the day, I'm like, oh, fuck, I should have done that. And I'm like, well, I can't do it tomorrow because and then on the weekends is when I got to film. So and then I kind of missed out on like going to the beach, just relaxing, having drinks with friends, and just enjoying.
Yeah. Okay.
So I couldn't find the perfect balance, but I found some sort of a balance, which meant that it's step one. And so that's what got me there, and that was like 8 months of a routine. You know?
Okay.
And then, well, I got out of that relationship around Jan, or like just
this year.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, there was we were like on and off for, and not there's a whole other fucking chapter in my life, man, but yeah, I basically, January was where I started to change a lot of things in my life, including my behavior, jobs, how I perceived content, how I perceived stand-up. And the first time I did stand-up was in November last year. That was the first time I did stand-up in 7 years. The last time I did stand-up
Wow.
was like in the clavichord in 20...
No, it wasn't. So I'll tell you something. The first time we met, or the first time I actually saw you, was in Dubai at Comic On.
Yeah.
And that's the first time, like, because it's always an Indian lineup, and there's this white guy there with like a full family of just like only ladies, if I remember correctly. I think you were the only guy surrounded by ladies, but
It was
they were all in your family.
It was like my grandma, my sister.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like he brought his mom, and he was doing so well, and I was like so happy. And then I saw you in the clavichord where you had the double headliner with Ty,
Yeah.
and
yeah.
that was such a fun show.
Yeah, that was.
I
a good show.
remember that really
That was the
well.
last night.
Yeah.
That
I
was the
think
last
so.
night.
Yes,
That was the
yes,
last night. I don't. When is that? 2017,
No. That would have been 2018, I believe.
maybe. That was the last time I did stand up.
Yeah, until then you went into a hole, I guess, and then you
Yeah,
came out.
I got fucked after that show, bro. Like I got out and there was the table full of like comics, and I was like, you guys like mind helping me with some feedback? Like, got completely shat on.
Really?
Yeah. Neck diarrhea all over me, and I was like, and that threw me off comedy so much. And then among other reasons that you know I'll share outside of the
Okay.
recording.
Yeah.
And not because I don't want to say it.
Right.
I say, but it's just I don't want to give attention to people who I dislike.
Right.
Yeah.
But yeah, a lot of things got put into play which pushed me off the idea of doing comedy. But then then I kind of like I was looking at this reality of the situation and like, okay, look, I can't hide forever. I can't keep blaming people for.
And you have an amazing gift as well. Of
Thank you.
Making people
But I don't. Again, the recognition for that is I don't see anyway. But yeah, so then I was like, okay, how many times am I gonna blame everyone for, like, I can't blame anyone. Like, you always have to take responsibility for your own actions. And I was like, I chose to not come back to comedy. I chose to hide away. I chose to not face reality. So completely put the burden on myself. And then I said, okay, well, now I understand that it's my fault. But how do we change that from fault into like a lesson?
Yeah.
And then I was like, all right, it's very simple. You just need to get back out there. And like Ima, Abs, even Maher, like a bunch of people were showing a lot of love and like, hey, there's a show, you should come. Ima was she was always like, I think every couple of months she would message me like, hey, there's a show, you should come. Hey, there's and then she understood that like I was like, oh, there was always an excuse. So she's like, just come watch, like don't even get on stage, just come watch, just come see like what the scene is like again, catch up some of the comics. People have been asking about you, like it'll be good. I still didn't, because I was like still that like scared like teenager in that.
Didn't
like,
want to face.
Yeah, like I didn't want to go back and like.
Yeah.
So then I was like, all right, how do we step away from that? And it was like, all right, it's very, very simple shows. You just need to get back in it. So organized it. I got a partner to kind of organize the finances and the dates and all that stuff. I was like, okay, let me just set up a stage and do that. And then that's where I kind of like was like, okay, the reels and the Instagram stuff was literally just a substitute until I can get back to doing comedy.
Okay.
But then I found a new way of expressing, a new way of connecting with people, a new way of exercising characters and doing these different skits and personas and how I would do like fake scenarios that we all somewhat have like connections to.
Yeah.
And then that when I did the first show, something happened after the show which was a fucking disaster. But this I was like, oh, I'm not doing this again. And it was November passed by, December passed by, January passed by, and then I was like, one more time. So I did the show again.
Good. Yeah.
And then again, another like problem happened after the show, personal stuff. And then I was
That
like,
was the one in May?
in
the one
Knox.
where-
Yeah, I did it in Knox.
Knox. Okay.
It's in the Palm. It was underground.
Okay.
And I called it the comedy bunker because it was underground and I'm Arab, so it makes sense. Very best. Yeah. Bill 18.
Bill
Yeah, I was like, thinking of like, I was like, it's very fitting. And then I said, you know what? Like, no matter what, I'm gonna. It goes beyond me. It goes to the versions of me or to like the other, teenagers or young adults or even if you're in your like 40s or 50s and you want to get into comedy, there should be a safe space because you can be completely successful in your own respective careers, but you can be put into a position where you're straight, like you're literally your inner child again. You're the version of you that you never confronted before. So I've seen like 45-year-old people who try to get into comedy and they go from being this 45 megalomaniac who can probably start a company, sell it, and buy another one before the day's over for a couple of million. But they come to the stage and they're like, and you hear them like breathing into the mic and they're trying to do the chin thing and they're like, when I was, and
It's tough.
It's tough. But that's the thing. Like I realized that I have to go beyond myself, and I thought like, what would have I liked when I started doing stand-up? I would have wanted a bigger audience. I mean, not really because I was too shy, but in reality, what does a stand-up comic want? Always wants a good audience.
Yeah.
Whether that be in quality and in quantity, hopefully both, most people want. I would have wanted to be paid. I would have wanted high like quality footage and just like treated like kind of like not like a superstar, but treated a little bit special, Stand-up comics are treated like literal dog shit. Like it's like this fucking comedian. Yeah, it's like, can I get a drink? Yeah, pay for it. Like you're treated like absolute shit. So I said, okay, what can I do that'll go beyond just myself overreaching my boundaries? What if I overstep my shit while creating a platform for other people as well?
Okay.
Hence why I started doing shows more regularly, and now I'm going into this full on. So and I never went full on because I always was worried about like, what if I do it and I don't know? Like, what if I fail? And now I'm like, all right, fuck it. What if we fail? Like what you're gonna die? No, like that's
What if you
It's
don't?
always that
time,
voice in the head. Like I think a lot of
always.
comedians as well suffer from that. Like what if, all those what if scenarios, when it really hinders them from actually taking that first step.
100%.
So that's why I'm so proud of you actually like deciding, like enough is enough.
Thank you. Yeah.
You have a gift. You're still trying to, like, you're not taking like all the credit so far. Like, I mean, there's still a lot of work that comedians have to do, and you're still like, but you're making sure that you at least have that right mindset and know where you have to take things from
There's
there.
so much shit to learn as well. Like I think the first step of like doing all of this was like understanding that I know fuck all. Like I know nothing, and there are people around me who know a lot more, and there's people around me who need my support and I need their support.
Right.
So that's why I'm doing the shows with comics coming in and out, trying different comics out, seeing how I work with it. Like just and if you know, I don't know if you've been to like so there has been 5 shows now so far. None of them have been the same. None of them.
I was on the last show. I
Yeah,
think.
you were in the last one.
The last one. Yeah.
And none of them have been the same. All the shows are different. The only I only had Maher twice and Ima twice, but everyone else has been like circling around. So I myself am exploring. Like I know what my problems are, and I know that there are certain steps I need to do to overcome them. But I'm not gonna wait to overcome them alone and then start bringing in people. Look, if I can do something now with my let's say like a platform or the opportunity to open up comedy, like 25 Hour Hotel never did stand up. So this was like a good barrier to break down, and like I was like, all right, let's do this together. Let's open up a new door. Now I think Maher's trying to set up. I don't know if this is like confidential. Anyway, there's some comedians who wanted to do like a special there, and they showed love. They're like, hey, I know that's your spot. Like I was like, oh, there's no spot. There's no one should have a spot.
We should open the doors for
yeah. And Ty told me this a very long time ago. It was the first day I ever tried stand up. He said, when the tide comes in, all ships rise. And I didn't understand it then. As I got more involved with the community, I was like, okay, I get it. But not a lot of comics think that way. And I get it. It's a scarce commodity, which is not even valuable. Which this is the shitty thing. Comedy here is a scarce commodity. Is a very scarce commodity that no one fucking values. So comics are at each other's throats. Like I want to. Yeah. And I don't even know this. I've been out of the community for a while now. You know, like I haven't really been in. Like I haven't been seeing people. There's a few people I keep in touch with, but I haven't really been in it. But I know that it's not cutthroat, but it can get quite aggressive here
with one another.
Yeah, and the thing is, no one fucking values it. Like we're the only people who are like, and like restaurant owners, venues, all these people, they don't give a shit. Like they only care when a big name like Andrew Schultz, a Bill Burr, Russell Peters, Trevor Noah, when these big guys, Joe Coy, when you have Coca-Cola Arena standards, then the people outside are like, well, we'll go with that. But there's a few comedy clubs here, but like it's not in the general public. If you go to New York and you say, do you know the Comedy Cellar? People who don't like comedy will know what it is, or they have heard about it.
Yeah, or the Comedy Store.
We don't know anything here.
But
we don't know much.
It has been a lot better
100%
than where it was from what I remember.
And it should be. It should be. If you've been, comedy's been here for the last 20, 30 years. Like it's not like we invented it.
Yeah, I know. It's nothing like new in that sense.
And it's now being discussed. It's like 20 years later, fine. Like it's good. Progress is there, but there needs to be a shift in how things are done, and there needs to be a louder voice, not by one, but it's not that everyone needs to be louder. It's that everyone needs to synchronize. That makes it louder.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
That's so true, because like comedy is still in the bottom of the barrel in the entertainment barrel, I guess, and like there's always these other forms of art which people really put above comedy, and I think that's something that all the producers should come together, or everyone who actually has a passion to bring comedy up should all take it together as well.
100%. But I and it's weird. It's funny because I think acting is at the top, right? I think acting. Actually, that's a good question. How would you rank this barrel?
For sure, a live play, so like some sort of acting, and then maybe music. Actually.
Yeah, I would say music.
Music will be at the top.
Yeah,
but not just like open mic music, like someone who actually has some. Actually, it's very hard to.
Because you'll have a musician in a bar getting fuck all attention.
Yeah.
You know what
True.
I mean?
Unless it's like a bar which is like
stage oriented.
Yeah, like what is that one in JBR? Lock, Stock and Barrel, where people actually come to listen to them. But yeah, comedy, like if there's a sign that says comedy live, like not a lot of people, like people will maybe walk past by it, but
people are a bit more of I think in my book, comedy is the all-time greatest.
Yeah, for sure.
And I was saying this on the other show yesterday, and I was saying that like for me, obviously I'm biased, but I think that because with comedy, like okay, think about this: whenever you see someone give a great speech, or a great presentation, it's usually because they made everyone laugh.
Yeah.
If you can have a very motivational one, and that's great, but if you made people laugh while you motivated them, great.
Yeah.
If you in between your song made a little joke and people laughed, like comedy is the one thing that can disarm people, but you usually get people who are armed to the teeth when they're coming for comedy, because everyone's insecurities are like, they're ready to be like antagonized. So
that's very well said. Actually,
I think it's the top for me. It's definitely reversed, because I thought music once, but I thought, let's say here, music isn't. It's admirable, but you can talk through someone's song. If you talk through someone's joke, the first thing comedians gonna do is be like,
"Hey,
you good there, buddy?" Eyes up here. You know? So it's very much subjective to the performer, I think. But acting is probably the top in people's mind because everyone loves movies, everyone loves, some people like theater, blah blah, and then dance is
Oh yeah, dancing as well.
people
Yeah.
like people revere dancing because it's a very tough physical talent as well.
Yeah.
Because your body has to act
whole sport,
technically as
yeah.
well. Yeah, it's a sport. It's very physically demanding. There's different styles. There's different, and it's rhythm as well,
Yeah.
right? You can't. No one with you have to have rhythm to look like a good dancer. You could be a technical good dancer,
Yeah.
but you could look like you're a bit rigid. And you see that with a lot of professional dancers who are great,
Yeah.
but they're a little bit stiff, and you feel like there's something off. But they're good, you know.
Especially when it's a group, you know, like that
Yeah.
makes
To be
it
in sync with
another-
everyone.
Yeah,
Yeah.
another level. But yeah, I think comedy should be the forefront.
It is the fucking forefront. You take a great comedian, he or she will probably be a great actor.
Oh yeah.
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 The best actors are usually like
Yeah.
comedians.
You're right.
Yeah.
They're diverse. They can
Yeah.
they can play with any emotion. So
Yeah.
I think that's there's a lot of shoes to fill with comedy.
Yeah.
This is what I think there's a big, at least for me, I feel like there's so many shoes to fill with comedy. That's why it's very intimidating, but it's also exciting to
Yeah.
kind of challenge yourself.
Yeah.
And I think I wasn't ready to challenge myself for the longest time, but now I'm just doing everything. Now I had such an attachment to my hair, like such an attachment to my hair. And then I woke up and I was like, ooh, we're comfortable. All right, fuck it.
Wow.
And then the job was like,
That's what I was gonna say. You had a really good
thank you.
head of hair.
I did.
Yeah.
I did.
And like a lot of people like dread, like even for me, like every day I think about my hair thinning to some extent, so I would like never actually like shave it off.
Mm.
So yeah,
Actually, if you shave
doing
it off, it helps grow back.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's a part of the reason why I shaved it.
Okay.
Put some oils in there.
Some coconut oil.
Yeah, bro, you have to.
Rosemary.
Rosemary for sure. Boil some rosemary and spray it in your hair. But yeah, so I started getting comfortable.
Yeah.
You know, I was like, what's the extreme way of dealing with discomfort? Do you have that? Yes. Okay, quit your job. Like right
So you
now.
let go of things that are
Yeah.
that are
Anything
difficult.
that it maybe comfort isn't bad, but I think comfort is
prolonged comfort.
not prolonged comfort.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think of like the best way to phrase this without being
Like to keep you on your toes, basically.
Not even. It's like comfort is good when it's deserved, and if you, but then again, it's a iffy statement because when and what do you classify as you deserve?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like for me, like I let's say I hit the gym, so I took care of my body. I had a good productive day of work, and I posted content, and you know, I told my family I love them. Quintessential things for me, like family, you know, entertainment, health, and then your social. That's all ticked off. Great. I think I had a great day, pat on the back, and I sit down. But then let's say I keep doing that all the time. That's a comfortable life. You're covering all your bases. And for some people, that might be the right thing, and that's how they want to operate their lives. But for me, I reached that stage, and I'm kind of not bored, but where's the next level?
Right.
Like, where do you want less money? Do you want more money? Do you want a bigger family? Do you want a smaller family? Do you want to be alone? You have to reevaluate. So I reevaluated my position, and I saw that the comfort it was helping me pick up, like, everyone didn't know I had a job. Everyone thought that I was just making content, which I'm kind of insulted with, because I'm like, you think if I didn't have a job, this is the level I'd be putting out?
Right.
Like, that's far. Like, I would do so much more out there.
Yeah.
But like,
I could be so much better.
yeah, and then, but I'm looking at it, I'm like, okay, cool. At least it's a good indicator that people are enjoying the content. But yeah, long story short, for me, I think pushing the last step you took, like looking at your last step and thinking that it was good enough for that moment, but not good enough for your new moment. I think at least that's my series of steps, I guess, is a fitting word.
But don't you think that you're like, I'm just gonna try to play devil's advocate, but don't you think like you're doing too much too soon? Like, okay, I quit my job. I'm really gonna jump into this full time. You didn't feel like the need to take it like in smaller steps. Like, okay, let me maybe try to fix my time management better, so I'm out of the office by 5, and then I can really dedicate this. But now you're like, okay, I quit my job, shaved my head, like getting out really extremely out of my comfort zone, and now like gonna attack entertainment, like full on, like jumping the bullet, like starting running with before walking. What do you think about all those kinds of things?
I didn't, and now I am thinking now. Now I'm having a panic attack. Give me the fucking Xanax. No, but I tend to want to deny it, but I'm an extremist in every sense in my in literally every aspect of myself and life. Sorry, but the perception or the background belief in my mind is that jump ship because you know how to swim.
Okay. But I'm so proud of you, man, doing all
Thank you.
this.
Yeah, well, fuck
It's
this.
not everyone can do it. Like, there's certain kinds of people who really know, like, okay,
I think anyone can do it. I think it's just like I think the moment, it's not like really I believe in myself, but I feel like I'm making sense to me. You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like I think in my whole life I kept on trying to make sense to everyone around me, and I was making sense to everyone around me. That was the problem. I knew what they wanted to hear, as like a sign of any comic who like wants to make progress. You know what someone wants to hear, so you become a little chameleon in your life, and you listen to. I knew what my mom wanted to hear. I knew what my uncle wanted to hear. These are like the most influential people in my life.
Mm-hmm.
So I would hear what they would talk about and their expectations of someone else's kid, and I would hear what they like in their personal life, and
Okay.
I would blend it up and give them a nice little meal of like, oh, this is what I want to do, and this I'm going to go to law school, I'm going to do this. So every stage of my life, I reevaluated what they wanted, and I started giving them what they wanted to hear, whether it was a job, whether it was fitness, whether it was like my love life, whatever they wanted, I started to do. I never agreed with it, but I myself didn't know what I wanted. I never connected with anything I ever wanted. But I think every year I get a little bit older, I start to cut out a little bit more shit from other people's wants and needs. I started to give myself what I wanted and needed. And then the only difference I think in my life is that I believe myself more. Like I believe the words I'm telling myself. Like when I say, no, we want to do comedy. We want to make content. We want to, and for the longest time, I convinced myself because who I define, there's a cousin of mine who I think is a much smarter man than I am, who was much more successful at the time, I believe, in his own field. He was a CEO of a really big marketing group.
Okay.
And he was saying that he studied theater and he wanted to be in theater and he wanted to do all this shit. And he's like, I did it and I loved it. I was the happiest, but it doesn't pay the bills. It doesn't do this. And I learned to fall in love with my job. And he's a very smart man. So he basically convinced me to not quit a long time ago.
Oh, okay.
And so when that was the case, and he basically, it's the statement, don't marry your mistress, you know, keep your job, keep content as content, because, and he said this, he's like, you know what, forget all the money, forget all the hardship of following your passion as your career. The one simple thing is that when your passion becomes your career, it no longer becomes your passion.
Yeah, I've heard that way too many times.
Yeah, they can get fucked.
Yeah.
Everyone who says that, in the
You
most,
lose that-
in the most respectful way.
What is happening to our studio?
What happened? Oh, wait.
We just used to screw a little bit.
So sorry. It's falling apart. Yeah.
It's the spirit of the people I told to get fucked. They're like, how dare he?
He's talking shit about us. They're doing this to us now.
Good.
Thanks, Peppy.
Hey, good.
Thank you.
So, is it...
Yeah, I can still hear myself.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's something,
There's something underneath.
a wire that's not. I don't know if that's no.
Yeah. Do we want to go back to jump ship?
Yeah?
Yeah.
You remember?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, but this actually all ties in.
Yeah.
It's because
We're a professional podcast. This stuff doesn't usually happen. But...
I'm taking it as a sign for me to shut up.
Usually, yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. Yeah. It's fine. What's happening? Sorry, Maxie. I know. You can go down now. It's fine. Don't be scared. See, there's a lot more space next to Shawn.
His head's just done. He's like, I don't want to move.
Okay, yeah. Where were we? Yeah. So everything ties in together.
Yeah, basically, like I get it, and I see people's perspective about like not making your career your passion your career, and pursuing two separate streams, keeping one as like a thing to blow off steam. But I fell in love with the process of like creating content and what it stands for and how it can kind of affect so many people in a positive light, because there's going to be negative regardless. But the direction you can create content in to really make people happy and make yourself happy along the process is something I've really fallen in love with.
Yeah.
So jumping ship isn't really jumping ship. It's like seeing that the water looks nice, you know? It's like,
yeah, I think it seems a little bit tough to digest, especially if you're coming from an Arab Asian family, because content creation to that sort of families doesn't, it's not a job. That's what they're gonna say, right?
Yeah.
It's not a job. It's not being a lawyer. It's not being a doctor. It's not being a a full-time marketing agent, whatever it is. So it's difficult to digest, especially for parents, grandparents. What are you doing? Filming yourself, making jokes, making people laugh. But if that's what makes you happy, and eventually what will make you money, then jump ship.
Yeah, but I think it's so far beyond that as well. It's like I understand the perspective. If it was, I'm just gonna be a content creator making TikToks in my room. You know, like, I get it.
Mom, close the door.
And I think I don't think it's like the issue is with like creating content. I think the issue with families, like if I was a parent, I'd be like, where's the longevity?
Yeah.
You know, where's you want to dance forever? Like a career in like a safe job gives you not only options, but it teaches you things. It puts you in rooms with people that will change your life at one point.
Yeah.
I've been in some pretty big rooms from my jobs, like my 9-to-5s, that have never changed my life.
Right.
I have never been impacted by them. They've never
felt
helped
inspired.
me. I've never been inspired. I've never been helped. I've never been guided. I've been taught, because I started working when I was quite young. So I was in different places, which did teach me a lot at the time, but it didn't change my life. With content creation and being a part of the stand-up community and doing stand-up and diving into these different roles, I have had more excitement and more passion and more inspiration and a physical life change in 8 months than I've had in more than like a 15-year career of working in F&B, below the line sales, marketing, consulting for software, data management. Like I've done like weird jobs throughout my whole life, and 8 months shits on 15 years.
Wow.
Right.
And so that was pretty much my turning point when I saw longevity into why'd you work. And it's not about the salary. You're if you really want to expand, it's your network. It's the being in the right room with the right people, shaking the right hand, meeting the right people. And if that's genuinely the lesson, then why not dive deeper into something that has clearly proven it to me?
Yeah.
And I just, again, like I said, I believed it. I finally believed, like, I want to be in the room that I want to be in. Like with my job, my mom had always said, no, go here, do this, dress like this, because these people, they will change it for you. They will make your life better. And so I'm like, but I don't fucking want to. Like, I don't want to. And I did anyway, and I forced myself to. And I consistently forced myself to do things I didn't want to do because of the wishes of others. So again, that changed my perspective. Not into stop forcing yourself, but now force yourself for you.
Yeah.
You're going to have to be forced to do shit anyway. The world is full of pain and discomfort anyway.
Yeah.
Just choose which one you want to dive into.
Yeah.
So I chose, if I'm going to suffer for me at least.
Yeah.
Because I went to these meetings. I went to these places and I dressed the way I was told to dress and I shook the hands I was supposed to shake. Fuck all came from it. Zero came from it. And now when I'm pushing myself to be in places that I maybe don't want to be, but I feel like it's right, it's changing. It's doing the benefit.
It's working in your favor.
Yeah.
So I don't know what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But the one thing I know is that I'm willing to fail at something I love. If I'm going to do something and fail at it, I would rather do something I love than fail. Like, I will never be good at my job. I was a marketing director. I would have never been the best at my job because I didn't, my heart wasn't there. And I think it was clear to them, it was clear to me. And it's just obvious. When you don't love what you do, someone better will come and take it away from you.
Yeah.
So I love what I do. And what I do it's not stand-up. It's not reels. It's not content. It's just discovering myself in public. That sounds like I furiously masturbated like it sounds like,
is that Shawn again doing it?
And then he's like, he does love it. You gotta say he does fucking love it.
Have that smile and light up a room.
But like I literally I'm loving this process of discovering like what I'm like made of. Like, is the guy I think I am in here the real version of me? Am I worth what I think I am? And just testing that and doing it in front of people where you can. It's the most vulnerable. Stand-up is so fucking vulnerable. Yeah. You're literally talking about stories that people don't know if you're lying or not. Like, people can't tell if you're telling the truth about a family story or not. And all the stories I have are all true about my family. And you're being very vulnerable. I talk about my sister trying to kill herself, and people laugh at that, And that's a messed up thing to think about when you break it down.
Yeah.
But that's, again, about not reading too much into things. Take it as they are. Take it at face value sometimes.
Yeah.
And that's the thing, you're being super vulnerable. You're talking about an intimate story of at the time it was a very scary thing, but and as time goes by and your toxic upbringing teaches you, it's okay, this is family, this is how
It's
It's normal. I hit you because I love,
Love
you.
you.
If I don't love you, I would not care. Go.
You've
Do
heard
whatever
us
you
way too many times.
So that's the thing, like, and that's that. Now you're discovering these things in public, and you're seeing
Yeah.
people react to your life, and that's the thing I love. It's this journey that I love. Comedy, again, you can be a good comedian, you can be a bad comedian. Content creator, you can be good, you can be bad. It doesn't matter because who's defining it?
Yeah.
The people around you who love you, of course, they're gonna support you,
Yeah.
or they're gonna say, "Oh, maybe blah blah blah," whatever. It doesn't matter. Or a stranger who finds that joke really funny. Like, it doesn't matter. And I learned that, like, I had a video of like a sewing box, like you know the cookies.
The cookie one,
Yes.
yeah.
And that's like my most viral video ever. But I know that there was someone who got it from across the world who was like, this is amazing. And then they followed me. Then they opened my page and they're like, what the fuck is this? Unfollow, block, report, fuck you, DM me, and then leave. Like, this is a very, and I remember seeing that happen, like that, the fluctuation of followers. And I was like, what is going on? Like, I don't understand what's happening. And then I was like, this is like a clear example of like, you're not going to be everyone's cup of tea. Even if you were. You were the sugar to their tea for one drink, but now the other one, they don't like you.
Yeah.
Right.
So I was like, fuck it. I don't need to be everyone's favorite. I need to be my favorite. I need to enjoy like what I'm doing. And that's the thing. I'm enjoying discovering myself because I never did. I always wanted to conform. I always wanted to be someone else's best friend, confidant, therapist, whatever. Anything that I could be for someone else, I wanted to be. As long as it was in a positive connotation. Like, if any position I could occupy in someone's life that was positive, I would take it.
Yeah.
To my detriment.
Mm-hmm.
I could have died and I would be like, yes, but at least I made them happy. And now I'm like, who's doing that for me? Who's doing that for me?
Yeah.
No one. And I don't want anyone to do it for me. I want to learn how to do it for myself. And that's like the turning point. And that's why now I'm doing all these extreme things, because I'm like, I need to do something that I'm going to lose a lot of people with, because the less people you have to deal with, the easier it is.
Okay.
You know, and like, it's not like I did it and I'm like, everyone's going to fucking hate me. It's just, I made a decision that I know not everyone's going to agree with. And it's just about pushing the boundary just a little bit, but not pushing yourself. Push everyone else because you need to create that space for yourself, but don't push yourself. Like, push everyone else away.
Yeah.
Not in a bad way, but just like, I need to create the space in my life now where I need to do the things that my family couldn't do for me when I was younger. You know?
Right.
And a small example is this summer I went to Disneyland for the first time. And like, I literally like teared when they played the Disney song, and I was like, this is for little me. Like, because we could never really afford to
Healing your
go.
inner child and stuff.
Literally, we never afforded to go. And they had me, they couldn't fucking afford to go. But my sister, bitch.
She had everything.
Yeah, VIP passes.
Yeah, you had two parents when you were fucking born. I didn't. So,
Okay, so your parents were really divorced.
severely.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, when they had you.
Literally.
Okay.
So, what's funny is like, I never really was like, it's my fault. I always knew this guy's fucking dumb. Like, so I was like, this guy fucked up. Like, I think they did a good job at making me feel like it wasn't my fault.
Good.
Although I will say, sometimes when I had conversations with my dad, I feel like there was like some hints of like, it was better before you came around.
Oh, really? Wow.
Not really. I don't think it was intentional.
Yeah.
But I feel like there was a small slip up of
Yes.
Okay, that's how you read it then.
Yeah.
but then the funny thing was, I was like, when a murderer, like let's say a serial killer,
Yeah.
will come to you and be like, did you just kill that mosquito? That's fucked up. And you're like, you have blood dripping off your hands
Yeah.
from like the children you just massacred. So, and it used to piss me off as the audacity. I used to go like, the audacity. But now, like, it's very hard to get me into that state of mind where I give a shit, because I'm like, everyone is their own person. Everyone's truth is their own truth. I don't think people are liars. I think people have their own truths that they severely believe or that they want to believe. So everyone who has their own truth is their own truth.
And then they do whatever they can to make that truth
Yes.
reality.
Whether or not it's fucking believable or not
Or
is
not.
debatable, but it's not for me to judge, because I don't want to be judged. So why would I judge other people?
Okay.
And I really don't want to be judged by anyone. So I genuinely try to not judge anyone else. I'll make comments which sounds judgy, but that's what is now going to be my job as a comedian, right?
Yeah.
So I have to train my brain to pick out the little nitty gritty details that no one wants to mention or no one noticed, either or. That's comedy.
Yeah.
Picking out details, saying what everyone's thinking.
Yeah.
But yeah, that obviously makes you sound a little bit judgmental sometimes. Like, I remember there was one girl walking in Dubai Mall and she did the typical like, And I don't know what's this new thing, but they stopped holding the phone like this, and they started. Now it's this.
Yes,
It's
from the
how,
side.
Yeah, how they hold the phone like this.
Yeah.
Okay.
And she did that, and I was walking with my sister, and I always tell my sister to stop judging people because my sister, she's like a butterfly. She's like la la, la, very like sweet. But sometimes when she wants to be, she can be ruthless.
Okay.
And I always tell her to mind her own business. And like, I don't know what it is about women, but when women walk by other women, they just
Head to toe.
yeah,
Head
like
to toe stare.
what nail polish do they have on? What slipper?
What bag
What
do they carry?
Is that fake? Is that and
Yeah.
like while they have the fake stuff as well, like it's like no one's wearing legit shit. Like none of
in
us.
Dubai?
None of it in the world. No one fucking. So I remember walking by and I don't know what I said. It was a very stupid, like it was like a little jab at the girl, not even in a bad way. It was just like yeah, of course, like of course.
Oh, okay.
I was like, I'm waiting for the like LED light as well. And then she's like, oh, stop judging, and like when you have no argument with your and you just blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm not judging. I'm just saying like that's like it's funny. It's funny to like add a little sauce in that.
Mhm.
But I realized like it can come across as that you're judging when you
Yeah.
make these little comments. So it
I think we all do. I think we
Yeah.
all judge.
I think as much as we don't want to, it still comes out.
yeah,
or at
can
least
you
think it for
imagine just,
yourself.
genuinely when you're very obsessed with
Yeah.
your own life and your own like thing, you really don't. Like I'm not there yet, but I know people who are dedicated to their life. Like they are really like in their zone. Some of them are in finance, some of them are in art, some of them are in music. Like it's all different. But I've met people in different walks of life.
Yeah.
They literally do not judge anyone, and they're so focused on what they're doing.
Yeah.
Even when we're out, like we're out, we're just eating, we're sharing a meal, we're having a drink, whatever, and something happens. I'll mention something, and they're like, they don't even see it. They're like, I don't have a vision for that.
Wow.
And I'm like, God damn, like
That's
They're
what
in
I
their
wanna be.
lane and they're just like,
Yeah.
I want to.
yeah, they're their main character.
Yeah.
They're their main
Yeah.
character, and that's it. They're genuinely like
Right.
the world is happening around them, and it's not in a narcissistic way. They're not narcissists at all. Well, one guy is a bit of a dickhead. Shout out to rap music, okay. But none of them are really narcissistic, but they're just
Right.
very like
They know where
they're
they want to
yeah,
be.
they're honed in into what they
Yeah.
want to do,
Yeah.
and that kind of motivated me to go like
Yeah.
yes and no, because
Mm.
yes, I want to be that focused, but no, I don't want to be that ignorant, because it's nice to be a part of something bigger than yourself,
Yeah.
and you have
yeah.
to be that, and as well as if you want to be good at storytelling and comedy, you have to notice the little
I was
details and
just gonna
things.
say, like, you guys
have to
tell a
be.
story, and most of the time it's like the mundane daily things that happen in your lives that become a story in your comedy, your stand-up
Yeah.
comedy. So yes, you have to be a good
Especially talking about the things which everyone faces on a day-to-day basis, but never really put much thought into it. And then when someone else is saying it
They
in
love
front of you on stage, and you're like, "Oh crap, that's something
But
I
that's
do it
people love
every
it.
day."
People
Yeah,
love
yeah,
it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah,
The sewing box is the exact example. of that.
Exactly.
I thought it was just like an Arab thing.
right.
Everyone has that.
Everyone, it's an
Everyone has
Asian
that.
thing. Filipinos do that a lot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I'm not
so
surprised. I'm
relatable.
not surprised with the East world. East world, I expected to maybe like, I know that some people would have that because I grew up with Filipinos, grew up with Iranians, grew up with Indians. So I know we all share something similar. But when people from the West started, I was like, the white people.
Yeah, them too.
They also, okay, there is culture.
We're all in the same box.
We're all humanis.
You, you said that you grew up with Indians, Filipinos, Iranians. Is that why your strongest accents are?
No, it's
Of
also,
those.
I prefer them because I know
Yeah.
the nuances. It's not the accent.
Okay.
If I know the nuances, I feel safe to do an accent.
Okay.
I don't like doing an accent just to do an accent, because I like an accent is incomplete without the mannerism.
Right.
right.
There's
right.
a
And that's what you're good at. It's like it's not just the accent, but every single
the hand
quirk,
movement,
like kuya, ate, like the little things, the mouth, pointing, all that. Like those little things is what makes the whole reel great. Because people are like, oh my gosh, it's not just him pretending to be a Filipino. It's like the whole thing. He's
Yeah.
doing it.
because like just from today example, like I was going through your reels, and there was one where you were the Filipino, and you were showing this guy about cars, and you're like, come inside me, and then he's like, what? He's like, come inside with me, and I'm like, that's so Filipino, like they always forget a certain word and it sounds weird, and then and I'm I'm like, how does he nail this to like the smallest detail? It's so funny. It's just so great.
There's a loop of like every conversation I've ever had and every interaction just like in the back. And that's why there's actually a content creator here, not to name names, but he does a lot of accents.
Okay.
And the feedback I always hear from him, and that's one thing I'm so happy is that I don't get the, oh, you're like the blah 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 of Dubai, or you're like the blah 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 of this.
Okay.
Because I never want to be looped in with other people, even if I'm shit at what I do. Let me be uniquely shit, you know, like. And so, but he's talented. He does a lot of accents. But one of my friends who's a very like a comedy enthusiast who doesn't do stand up, which I hate. I hate people who are really into it and they would like, I would never.
Yeah, I
I'm like,
could
just
never
do it.
do
It's
it.
not that hard. Like it's really like just get up. But anyway, and he was like, he doesn't have a persona. Like he does an accent, but he doesn't have a persona. Like he doesn't have like, there's no storyline.
Yeah.
You know? There's no like there's no build up. Like what's this guy gonna do next? Or like imagine this guy in this situation.
Yeah.
But he does accents. He's very talented. He does accents really well, but he doesn't have like a character.
Yeah.
And so when my friend was like showing me the videos, and because I didn't see him before, he was showing me the videos, and he's like, okay, this is what he does good. This is what he could do better. I was like, go message him this. Like, why are you giving me his advice? And he's like, no, he's like, you just, because I was telling him that I don't want to do any new accents without having that cultural experience.
Okay.
Because I like that there's a story behind it. I like that there's a whole character behind it. Most of these characters, they have their own stories because of people. Like the comments, like they
Right.
build up this character. Like the Egyptian Baba is now
Yes.
Egyptian Baba, but he's been Dr. Ahmed. I literally started it off. I had a huge tear on my adductor muscle here.
Right.
And I put my MRI scan on the screen and I diagnosed myself as this Dr. Ahmed. And,
Yeah.
and somehow he became this guy who flirts with anything, who also does these podcasts. You know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
and now he's his own entity.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
he has a social security card. Like he's doing things like, so it's so strange because there's like, you really like when you put something out in the world, it's sometimes beautiful when the world will cook it up and send it back to you. And it's this back and forth thing.
That's nice.
Right.
Yes.
I don't know how we got here, but so in Indonesia, the flash floods have basically
Is this how your brain works?
yeah, it's literally just like,
and then there's something else.
Yeah.
But do you write them down? These reels, these jokes,
no,
these
I can't.
personas?
I really can't.
Okay.
So
I need to
everything
learn
is,
how to
like
write though. I need to learn.
improvised on the
Yeah.
spot, or you just think of something. Okay, let's turn on the camera and get it.
No,
recorded.
it's like camera on. What are we doing?
Okay.
Wow.
Although recently I have been because in my Yob I had to like I didn't have time, so I would put on. So I wrote which one was it? God damn it! I need to give the specific example, right? So so when Fahad and I do these podcasts, I had a question, but that's it. I didn't know how the thing is gonna look like, so I sent him the question on our WhatsApp, and I just wrote to him, ask me why I love Egypt. And he our chats are just this. It's just we don't talk to each
Okay,
other.
just bouncing.
We
off
know
these
that we
things.
see each other every weekend, so we just don't talk. Our conversation is like, we're still good for 3. Yes, okay. My has your. That's it. It's very like primitive. Ooh, ooh, ooh.
Done.
And that's it.
Yeah.
And he goes like, he just replies, okay. And then that's it. That's me writing, because then we go and the video up today is he's like, why do you love Egypt? And I go, why do you like breathing? Like, why you breathe? You know? And he's like, because I don't want to die. And I'm like, who told you? You know, it's this stupid. But the script isn't prepared. The point is there.
Okay.
And this is why you both of you crack at sometimes
Yeah,
because
we laugh at it.
Those are the funniest for me, you know, when you're like keeping a straight face and then you just break out laughing. It's like
It's fun. Like that's the thing. Like you have to enjoy these things to make it happen. You know, like
Right.
if you don't enjoy making content, you're not gonna want to do it, or you're
Yeah.
gonna do it to your demise. Like you're gonna do it till you compromise, or till you jump on a trend, and it gets so dry and shitty. And like I've done videos with people just to do videos with you, and I hated it. And I was like, never. Never. Like, I'd rather have a slow climb and do it like with people I love doing it, who, well, let's say they don't even have, like, now that I have time, now that I've made time in my life, the content that I'm gonna start, like, I'm so excited because now I can give myself the space to create content. I didn't think about other people not having time as well.
it's okay.
anyway,
Just need yourself.
No. I want people. I know some friends who are hilarious.
yeah.
They would never like post anything on Instagram. They would never try stand up, but they're really, really funny, and I think they'd be amazing actors.
There's a lot of those.
There's so many. So
Yeah.
now I want to open the horizon to like who else wants to do this with me. Like
Right.
you're free now. Like after the show, let's say you finish this with me. I don't know. You guys had like a little afternoon planned. No, now you're acting in the skit with me.
No, we are part of it.
You're a part of it now. You know.
It's real now.
So and that's the
I
thing.
love
Like
it.
and that's what we can do. And I'm meeting people
Yeah.
now who are like, hey, you can use my shop to film anytime. And I'm like,
I love it.
this is the struggle, right? You're trying
Yeah.
to find a place to film. You want someone to give you approval. You want to find someone. And now people are like, hey, do you need anyone to like film with you? And I'm like, oh my God, yes, please. I would love that. And someone's like, you want to film in this coffee shop? I'm like, yes, thank you. Like this would be great. And so the doors can start opening for everyone to kind of start creating content together.
Yes.
And this maybe leaks out into different aspects of communities here where everyone
Yeah.
can start making stuff together. And because, you guys have been doing this podcast for a while now. So
Yeah,
you've also been seeing that people are a little bit with podcasts, they get a little bit like, I'm not going to be in your podcast.
Yeah.
You have to be on mine.
Yes.
I don't do other people's podcasts.
Yes.
And I'm like, oof, okay, I
Yeah.
see that. I see. And like, it's a joke, but like, if some people message me, they're like, oh, I saw you on this podcast. I was like, cool. They're like, yeah, good for you. And then like I see the message, like if I scroll up a little bit, it's like them asking me to be on their podcast, and I'm like, oh fuck. How was it?
do I
It
do
looked really
now?
fun. I'm like,
Yeah.
it wasn't released.
Yeah.
It's not out yet. But I'm like, I think a lot of people take my actions for done deliberately when I don't do anything deliberately. I just like am this like overweight ball moving around Dubai just doing random shit, and a lot of people think it's deliberate. Like a lot of people go like, oh, let's collab. I'm like, yes, and then I never get back to them. And the messages like literally like I get like a lot of weird messages, so I just don't check my messages for my brain, my mental health cannot handle the shit that people
Yeah.
say. So
And comments.
yeah, I don't read
Yeah.
zero.
Okay.
But yeah, so
Yeah.
but the point is like, there's a lot of everyone's like trying to cling on to something because it's like attention is such a rare commodity.
Yeah.
Yes.
Everyone's trying to
Yes.
but and like, people will probably listen to the podcast and never even get to the end. Like I used to know that in the end of my podcast, I used to leave a little snippet. I used to say, if you listen this far, message me this point on Instagram.
Yeah.
And I used to scan my DMs for it. And people who would send this point, I would
That's nice.
flag the message,
Yeah.
screenshot it, and like put it in my little folders of people who actually listened to the end.
That's nice.
beautiful.
Yeah, but then I deleted all the episodes, or I archived them and I took down the podcast. When it's
Okay.
still up, there's only one episode up with a life coach,
Mm-hmm.
and I left that up there because it's a topic about death,
Mm.
and I think it's like one of those things that should stay up there, even if I don't like the way I sound or blah blah blah.
Yeah.
I think the message is really good because she's a great life coach. I think her name was like Leonella, and she had a great exercise about life and how to look at things, and she spoke very eloquently. And I brought up death as a topic because I had lost my best friend the year before,
Oh, okay.
so I wanted to like kind of, and I know a lot of people lose family, friends, and stuff. So I wanted to like create that space to let people know that there is ways to deal with this, and especially if you're coming to me for comedy, you can also leave with a lesson. There's
Right.
something else. To
Yeah,
learn as
yeah,
well.
yeah.
Yeah.
So I left that up there, and the podcast is called "Product of a Failed Marriage," which is yours truly.
Mm.
But yeah, so I'm gonna get that up and running again.
We need to watch that episode.
Yeah, it's I actually have not listened to it since
Yeah.
I didn't edit it at all. So there's actually
Just a raw
in the
footage,
beginning
huh?
you hear the conversation like, hey, so how was do you drive here okay? It's like, and it's like, should we start? I'm like, yeah, we can start.
No, I love those. I love those raw podcasts.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's just laziness from my side. Like I'm probably the laziest person I know that does a lot at the same time but does nothing else.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it lazy at all.
I'm,
Like, look at all of the things that you're doing, and now you said you're gonna get back
No,
to
I-
your
I- yeah.
podcast.
Yeah, I think the biggest part of you saying all these things is that you realize it as well, because a lot of people will go through life thinking, oh, just things are not in my favor, but you've like maybe sat down, like locked yourself up in a room, thought about all these things, and like
No.
and you put a plan. Like I'm just like saying
That's a
You
good
seem
idea.
like
No, but, like,
someone who
it's-
did that.
it's
Yeah.
beautiful
Yeah.
to see, because some people really try to like
good idea,
bury
though.
this under the rug, and like they don't come to terms with like all the things that they are not bad at, but things that they need to be working on. And you've like really thought about this so well, and you already put yourself in a place where like, you know what, like there's the only way is up from here, so you're gonna keep on doing this. So
I think when you hit rock bottom at any stage, I wouldn't say my life is rock bottom at all, but mentally it was rock bottom several times. And when you're mentally in rock bottom, the diamonds that you shit into still have shit on them.
Yeah.
You know, like no matter what, you can be in the best position in life. Like most people who are super depressed are usually doing really well in their life. You know, they have a nice house, married happily, or have kids, or they've achieved everything they're supposed to. And then it's like, oh,
They've ticked the boxes.
but then mentally, when you're at rock bottom, you're at rock bottom all round. And nothing changes that. Whether you're rich or poor, or when you're at rock bottom mentally, you're all in the same state. Yeah, you'll walk the same like road of sadness, no matter what you're wearing. You know, whether it's a fucking Rolex or it's a, I don't know, like a piece of string that has like a recommendation of what time it should be. Like, but yeah, which by the way sounds like a really good idea for like a hipster like boutique store. I'm like, it's just like
By
a
the
sundial.
shadow of
It's literally a sun. It's a sundial.
sundial.
It's like it's actually urban friendly.
Going back to primitive times. I wanted to ask you, because we were talking about attention, what was the moment that you that happened that you're like, okay, people know me?
Ooh,
Like, was that something that happened?
it's a good question
Yeah.
because many people usually always ask like, you know, when did it start? When did that
Yeah.
start? But that's a question no one's ever asked actually. So it's a good question.
Thanks.
That's a good question. I think it was, I don't remember who it was, but there was the first time someone asked to take a picture with me,
Yeah.
and I was like at like maybe 2,000 followers. I think it was like 2003 followers, something like that. It was some like arbitrary number, but
Yeah.
but still. And someone asked me to take a picture. I was in Mercato with my sister and my dad, and it was like these two like teenagers who were like,
Oh wow.
you do the Indian accent," and I was like, "Yeah." And they're like, "Can we take a picture?" I was like, "You want me to take it?" He's like, "No, like us." I was like, and I my mind immediately went to like, these guys are teenagers, they're fucking with you
Yeah.
because teenagers are mean.
Yeah.
That's
And I was like,
true.
they're gonna pull out the camera, they're gonna start recording, then they're gonna like ball tap me or
Yeah.
something. Like something's about to happen. So I
Yeah.
kind of like I was tensing up. I was
You're
like,
like looking.
I was like,
around,
I'm gonna go to and I was like, I'm gonna go to jail for fucking beating up these like
These
these teenagers for
in front of
fucking
my
with me.
dad and my sister.
And their dad was there, and their dad was just like this typical old like Arab man was standing there, he's like what do they want? Like he's taking a picture, he's like, what the fuck is this guy? And I remember that day, my sister cried, because she was like, "You're going to be famous one day." And she got so sweet. And I was like, "No, but thank you for feeling this way." And I remember that moment, I kind of was like, "Whoa!" Like this, it was just a really, and so that was the first physical moment. The
Yeah.
first digital moment was, so obviously, you know, when you start a little thing, your friends, and you start selling fucking cookies, painting, podcasts, whatever. People, it's your friends first,
Yeah.
right? They tend to not stay. They tend to not stay. Your friends tend to not stay when you start growing. Some did. Some of my very close friends, thankfully, stayed with me. So I'm just shout out to the gang.
Yeah.
But there were these girls in my friend group who were very sweet, and they, you know, they still support, but everyone has their own life going on. I remember one of my friends, she had screenshotted a comment, which was the first random person who commented on the video, because it was all my friends commenting, right?
Okay.
Showing support and love in the beginning. Like when you have nothing, obviously they're there, which is really nice. And one of my friends screenshotted it, and she's like, "Do you know this person?" And I was like, "Oh my god, no." She's like, "It's your first random comment." I was like, wow. Like that was like,
Drinks on me, guys.
it was literally like
Celebrate.
that was like the like, I'm not fucking leaving moment, you know?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I remember when she screenshotted that, I was like, I felt so so happy and dumb at the same time about like, because for me the whole reason I started that content was just, number one was just because I wanted my friends to have the videos that I had been, because I would used to send them on Snapchat. I used to do the same thing. I just used to send on Snapchat to my friends.
Okay.
So they said, just fucking save them and post them
Yeah.
somewhere. And then a lot of my friends were like, can you just make a little private account that we can, like, I want to show my mom this video and everything. So I was like, okay, I'll make an account. And one of my closest friends, he had consistently told me, start a page.
Yeah.
Start a page. And he had been repeating the same, and he has the same face since we were kids. And he has the same tone. And every year he's like, start a page. And so eventually I was like, I will. And I did. And then it just kind of picked up from there. And, but yeah, those are like the moments that kind of build up into where I'm like, oh, this is this is kind of picking up somewhere.
Yeah.
This is kind of going somewhere.
Does it make you feel like conscious about the things that you put out, or you're like, you know what, I'm just gonna do
I'm
me?
just gonna do it anyway.
Yeah.
Like I really, really, really realized like you cannot be everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
Like Kung Fu Panda is the best. Has the
Yeah.
best like analogy where he goes like Master Shifu.
Yeah.
And he says, you know, you could be the sweetest peach on the tree, but not everyone loves peaches. And I'm like, I
Yeah.
love peaches.
Yeah.
I literally had a big ass fucking Korean peach before I came here too. So, and I really like it. It's very true. Like you genuinely cannot be everyone's favorite.
Yeah.
And I think it's not that it's not like I'm gonna do me and you have to. Like it's genuinely like I now can see that the content actually makes people happy.
Yeah.
I grew up alone in my house. My sister was she's a lot older than I am, so she had different school schedules than I did. So I was home earlier. Mom was working minimum 2 jobs all the time. So it's just me.
Yeah.
And the only thing that saved me from doing anything like harmful to myself or thinking in any other way that would be otherwise positive was because I had content to watch. YouTube came up in like 2006, 2007.
Yeah.
And YouTube became my thing. Like I
Yeah.
was just watching YouTube all the time.
Yeah.
Which pisses me off because I should have got onto YouTube earlier and now I've been making money. But like better late than never.
Yeah.
And now I realize that like my life goal has always been twisted with many things, but one of the pillars of my life goals has been, can I do what someone did for me when I was a kid who was going through, in my eyes, the worst thing anyone could ever go through, you know? In reality, it's a different situation, but in my mind, I was going through the worst thing I could ever go through.
Right.
And content saved me. So I was like, if I can reciprocate that, that's the initial idea of when I started my podcast first. Because I wanted to give a real voice to young guys who went through what I went through, and genuinely, as cliche as it sounds, let them know that someone else went through this and that they're here.
Yeah.
You'll survive, and it does get
It'll
better.
be
And everything is
okay.
okay.
Yeah.
And that was the whole point of it. But I couldn't stay consistent with it. Content I could stay consistent with. So I said, okay, that is on ice for now. I'll come back to that.
Yeah.
6 years later, or 5 years, 3 years later, I'm coming back to that now.
Right.
But in the meantime, I still had the content, and the content isn't really that purposeful of like, okay, young men who are blah, 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 blah. But it's now to the mass audience who had a bad day. And so when I get messages of anyone saying that they had a bad day or they share like they lost someone, and you know how fucking touching it is for someone to say that they lost someone and they look at your video and that they enjoy it.
Feel better.
So this is my dilemma. Do I check my DMs? Do I not check my DMs? Because like I want to scour for these people who are sharing that with me to let them know that I hear them and I see them just the way they see me.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm like, but right next to you, there's a guy who's sending me a weird dick pic. So,
Get someone who'll do it for you.
Yeah, it's like a
yeah,
mixed
yeah.
audience completely, right?
I know, but like that's the thing. So, like that, I forget how we get here, but
If that's what fuels you up, you know, these
It is,
people
it is.
who come up to you and tell you, look, you know, your video touched me in this way, or
yeah.
it helped me in this way, then you need it. That's your fuel.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's I think that's the main. That's the at the end of the day, like money isn't really tangible.
Yeah.
Gets us a house and gets us our safety, but
Yeah.
we all know that that's never enough.
Yeah.
To someone who doesn't have it, it's everything. But then
Yeah.
to someone who has it,
It's always like you're at this point, and then you're like, okay, what's next? And when
which is
you
fine.
have money,
That
you know,
fuels
yeah,
ambition.
Yeah. Yeah.
But when your ambition, when the fuel to your ambition is less tangible and more environmental, I think that's where ambition becomes beautiful. I think a lot of people are ambitious to like, they want to build skyscrapers and they want to build, I don't know, $1 million or now million is nothing apparently, or inflation.
Yeah, exactly.
$1 billion businesses.
Yeah.
That's great. And then there's some people who reverse that. They're like, I want to build schools and I want to build hospitals and I want to build shelters. Like that's the ambition that changes the world. The ambition to make people happy. The ambition to heal and to save others. I think that's the ambition that fuels the world. That's the reason why we can continue functioning as a society. But I think it's both. It's not an either or. Like you shouldn't have either or. There should be the people who, like my uncle, my mom's brother, biggest heart, biggest soul. He's probably one of the purest people ever, but he's a ruthless businessman, and he's purely into that. Like he has his own charity within families and communities where he helps and supports, but he is a first and foremost businessman. You know, and he wants to build the empires. He wants to build the businesses. And then I, on the other side, I'm like, I don't give a fuck about a business. Like, I don't want to like, and I tried to lie to myself for years about I wanted to do the same thing because he was like a father figure for me as well.
Right.
Okay.
So I
Okay.
look up to him, and I was like, I wish I could be as confident as him. And I, like, of course, it's easy to be confident when you're 6'4", well built, good looking, like wealthy. Like, yeah, of course, fucking.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, how will I? Until I was like, you know what? I don't need their checklist as for my checklist, because some of my boxes have been like, you can't tick them, the different boxes.
Yes. Yes.
Some of mine are fucking circles.
Yes.
So,
You have your own line.
yeah, but that took
Some other people
year.
have their
That took a year. That took up until a month ago for me to realize.
I
So,
can
like,
imagine.
but yeah,
Yeah.
but I think it's a balance. You need the people like that in the world, because they create
Exactly.
the infrastructure for jobs, and they create a part of the world that you're not interested in creating,
Yes.
and vice versa.
Yeah.
So I think, 31 flavors, take them all.
Yeah. And then we need you guys, entertainers, to help us, get through a really tough day.
Hey, but who helps us get through the tough thing? It's pronounced Xanax. Pfizer. Shout out to
Sponsoring the
Pfizer.
episode. Use the code.
GSK. Well, I don't know if you have any other questions, because I wanted to move into this handy advice
Go for it,
section.
yeah.
So we have a section on our podcast we call Handy Advice. Hand, because it's half a nice day.
I was about to make a really inappropriate.
Yes. we know.
Very
we know.
proud I stopped myself. I was like, how many people said the same thing? Be different.
And so we wanted to do a handy advice with you, because I know you have a section with, I don't know, you Fahad, where you answer questions. But now we have you as Shawn, who actually gave us a lot of like insights and very intelligent comments.
So you're gonna be stupid now.
No, we want you to be Shawn. So usually we get our
Shawn is
questions. Usually we get our questions from our listeners, and they give us, questions about life advice. But this time we got it from Reddit, because we thought this would be apt as a question for you.
Reddit is a dangerous place.
I'm sure you know this subreddit, which is called AITA, Am I the Asshole? So the question is...
Why would you assume I know that?
Because it's you, bro.
It's actually my subreddit.
Yeah.
I'm the moderator.
Moderator.
I'm the moderator on it, actually.
You are. Maybe you actually posted this. So the question is, am I the asshole because I don't want to name my son after my father-in-law? My husband and I are expecting a baby in 3 months. The issue started when my father-in-law passed away 2 months ago. My husband, who was very close to his dad, wants to honor him by naming our son after him, which would have been fine if it wasn't for the fact that his name is Kir, which
Kir?
means, K-I-R.
Oh, it means dick.
Yes. In her language, she's Iranian.
She's Iranian,
yes.
for sure. Yeah.
I told my husband that there is literally no way that I'd name my son Penis. I just can't. He tried to compromise by saying we would name him Kieran and call him Kier for short, or we could use Kier as a middle name. I don't want my son to be named after a penis. Or be nicknamed after a penis, or have it as a middle name. I have a large family who I'm sure are going to laugh at his name. All his cousins on my side will know his name is Penis, and they will make fun of him. My husband thinks I'm an asshole for not letting him name our child Kier. Is she the asshole?
I think they're both assholes. And their son should be the dick. No.
And there you have it, guys.
Thanks very much. We'll be waiting to hear back from Pfizer. We'll be back after commercial break. I think that's a marriage level issue, because it goes so much deeper than just a name. It's like, who has more authority?
Right.
Where is like the insecurity lying? Or whose ego is this?
Yeah.
We're starting to
Who wears
peel
the
the
pants?
pages
Yeah.
now.
Yeah, it's never something should be taken at face value. This obviously isn't. This is like a much deeper. This is like a guy feeling like he wants to do something when his woman is like, nope.
Yeah.
And like, what do you do when a woman says no to you? You like, what? Like,
Yeah, like
Very few
male
things-
ego is very fragile and it's getting
Yeah.
hurt.
But I don't think it's fragile. I think everyone's ego is fragile. But I think as a man, you're conflicted on how you should behave, because your immediate response is to get emotionally charged, and that can go into the direction of get angry or cry. This is as humans, not as like men or women.
Okay.
But as modern men now seem to find themselves not knowing how to behave around women, which is very stupid. It's very easy how to behave. You just don't be an asshole. Yeah, it's very simple.
And consent.
But now, consent. That's always good to have. Mandatory checklist.
Name of the game?
No, but that's the thing. Like men don't know how to behave. When do you put your foot down, and when do you go like, yeah, this makes sense, and like I'm listening to her because she makes sense, not because I am beta male. You know, like
yeah.
so. There's a very. It's like so one's self in their confidence.
Yeah.
Dyslexia. One's confidence in their self. I love how you both were like,
Yeah.
And I was like,
Not like there's some
Something that's
wisdom
right.
here that
No,
I'm trying to
it's-
decipher.
it's called the tongue twister. It's actually very fun. I think when you're confident in yourself, like you don't have the issue of like having a disagreement or like or conceding technically.
Yeah.
Yeah.
For him, it's obviously like a emotional like I want to honor a memory, and she's like, you're calling my son a dick. Like you don't know what this is gonna do to me. She's thinking all the way down the line, and he's
Yeah.
thinking, my heart hurts. This is a solution.
Yeah. Right
So
now.
it's what I think is I'm the last person to talk about relationships, but what I think is always the best thing is putting all the cards on the table and being like, I am thinking in this way. You are thinking in this way. Where's the Venn diagram where it says we think the
Yes.
same?
Yeah.
There's the middle ground.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But probably not a good idea to name the son the penis. I'm also not against, but I don't think it's a good idea to name someone after someone sometimes because number one, it puts some pressure. Number two, the kid doesn't know his father-in-law, so he's going to be brought up on stories,
Right.
and they're going to be positive stories, and then maybe the guy was an asshole.
Yeah.
So now you're living this false identity of like, then you have now you have an unnecessary identity crisis just because you found out that the guy you worshipped your whole life is now not the guy you thought you were. And it's like, you'll get over that, but you have to even go through that to begin with.
Yeah.
So I
Plus,
think,
you'll be like a constant reminder to like your dad. Like every
Yeah.
time he calls the name, it's like, oh, my dad. That-
yeah, you never
that
know. So
freezing
I think
moment.
I think whatever passed, let it pass. You know, don't
Yeah.
hold on. Like there's a lot of beautiful lessons in many religions that teach about like once someone's passed, move on. Like don't
Yeah.
even visit the grave again. Like let the person be in peace. It only brings you pain to go back. You think it's bringing you like, you know, love and like I'm showing respect, but like you're also hurting yourself. And the last thing someone who's passed wants you to feel is pain. You know, even if you had animosity.
Right.
When someone moves on, they move on.
Hmm.
You should too. You know,
Yeah.
you honor someone's passing with good deeds in their name.
Mm-hmm.
Like people who
True.
build like hospitals or schools in the name of someone,
in the
Yeah.
memory of
or they fix a road and they
Yeah.
call it after someone. Like
Have benches on the side of a park.
yeah, like
Yeah.
it's little things
Yeah.
that can impact in 0.1% positive will always be a better way to do things than like, okay, this is my son. What if the guy becomes like a fucking drug dealer, crackhead, and
And his name that.
literally, yeah, and now his you know his grandfather was a beautiful soul who helped children, and they don't remember his name anymore because who's likely to go in the news? The guy who helped little hospitals or the guy who shot up the hospital?
Well said. Well
You
said.
know?
So they both are.
Yeah, they should both die.
Yeah.
What?
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 How did we get here?
Fucking Kieran and his family.
Kieran. So, Josh, any other questions?
From my side, I think I'm okay. It's funny actually that you're the second comedian on this podcast to say
What the fuck? Who's the first?
to say about that whole peaches analogy. You know, like
Yeah.
Who said that?
Ahmed Al Qadri.
Yeah.
Yeah, he's another U.S. comedian. U.S.
Another U.S. Oh, I've never been.
No, sorry, a U.S. based comedian. You performed in the U.S. recently.
First time, yeah.
How was that?
Chicago.
Wow.
Really fun.
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah, I took 5 shits in 1 hour. I was so nervous.
You brought your stool with you.
But look at you.
I
You're
just used the
here.
garbage. Stood on it.
You're back. At least you're still elevated.
Yeah, elevated. That's what principles of pooping.
That's what we need.
I'm gonna pretend like I didn't hear that, and the fact that he mentioned peaches as well, because now you've done exactly what I asked not to. You've grouped me in. So
No, it's for me. It's always a good reminder because the first time I heard it, it was quite eye opening though. So I'm like glad
Fu
it's
Panda?
yeah.
Yeah.
No, he didn't say it was. He said it was a Southern saying. So I'm like, now that you said it's Kung Fu
he's
Panda,
a
I never
fucking
watched.
liar. Fucking Ahmed. I hope you know that you get hit by a dog.
Look at the Southern saying. You know,
It's
we're
by
in the
Master
US.
Chief.
Yeah,
But that does sound like I would definitely hear like you
Yeah.
can buy your sweetest peach in tree, but nobody love peaches. Like I can see that. That's fine.
Man, this guy with
Fine.
his accent.
Fine. I'll
Seriously.
take all if I had a hat.
Yeah.
Ahmed.
Cowboy hat.
Damn it, he said it first time. And you let me say it. And
no,
you,
no,
and you gave me the acknowledgement. You're like, yeah.
Yeah. That's great.
Big asshole.
Amazing.
Now you make me angry with him, and he doesn't deserve it. You deserve the flame. That's
not my will. I'm just saying that was good for me to hear.
Yeah.
because yeah.
Are you struggling with something like that now?
No, not really, but like
Look at me in the eye when you say that. Then
not really.
you s-
Like,
Wow, he's a bad liar. Good. At least now you'll never have to like worry about him lying to you.
no, like
Not a good
no, like
Yeah, that's what I-
exactly what you said in the beginning. Like I have my fair share of insecurities, especially when it comes to comedy and taking that massive jump as well. Like, should I
Mhm.
pursue this full time or will it ever pay the bills? We recently got married, so like there's a lot of things that I
Yeah,
have
it's
to
a big expense too.
take care of, so yeah, just I think I need to like see what has to be done. Like I need
Mhm.
to take a step back and not take a step back, but like maybe assess where I am in my career. Is there a way that I can actually make this work if I have my 9 to 5 and if I do
No.
comedy? Or
No,
some people can do it.
no,
Like
no.
you have to choose either or.
Doing both is doable, but being great in any of them is
Oh
not.
yeah, that I hear. Yeah.
And getting out of your situation, whatever situation will be, you don't get out of it by being good at something. You're great at it or you're not, and you
Yeah.
have to move. So
So yeah, either mediocre in both phases of my life, my professional and my
not
personal, I
mediocre.
guess,
Mediocre
or-
might not be the best way to. Or yeah, you know what? I'm not gonna sugarcoat it. Yeah, you'll be average at both, and with someone like you with your talent, you're what's the polite way of saying it? You're fucking it up. You're fucking it up.
There's just gonna be a day like all the comedians quit their jobs and Shawn is the one to blame.
Pretty much. No, but generally, like I'm realizing this because I'm in probably the worst financial situation I've ever been in, and I'm making the biggest financial decision of my life.
Yeah.
Don't wait to get to like
Yeah.
here. This is rock bottom.
I think everyone will be listening and watching,
okay?
just tracking and seeing how he's doing. It's like, is he making money?
I'm gonna
now?
put
Is
I
he-
have a PayPal link in my bio. If anyone want $1 would go a long way these days.
Put
But-
that in the link in bio.
But yeah, like but you
support Shawn.
you guys have a partnership, so there's more weight on your decision.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because you leave, naturally the weight is gonna come to be like, okay,
Yeah.
I gotta be. But then maybe you want to leave, and then you're like, oh, now I gotta be. So I think communication is definitely gonna
Yeah.
be a great thing. And then most importantly, like you guys seem to have great communication regardless, so that will be fine. The only thing would be when one of you decide to make a move, believe in that fucking move.
Yeah.
Otherwise,
Yeah.
because you guys could go through hell and you'll be fine. Like you'll come on and be like, hey, you still have a little bit of fire in you. Let me get that. So I got you, babe. You have that type of chemistry with each other.
Yeah.
And but I think it's like whatever you decide to move with passion and move with
Yeah.
fucking speed and force. Like
Yeah.
It has to be
pull a
collective.
World War II German Nazi blitzkrieg. Like
Yeah.
really hit them.
Pearl Harbor stuff.
Yeah, hit them with surprise. Hit them hard and fast. And you. I think as long as you do that, everything will be fine. And as cliche as it sounds, I'm sure. Put family aside, as long as you guys have each other, it doesn't matter where you are, you'll figure it out. So
So we need to have
Quit.
a discussion later.
no, we
He'll just sit there and just see
So
how it
just-
turns out.
quit.
Just quit.
I just want this in your ears while you're editing. You're just like, keep saying quit. Why is it?
I'm like,
Can I just switch off his mic?
Just send your voice notes throughout the evening, just like,
I know.
Exactly.
Oh, voice note from Shawn. Quit. Okay.
yeah.
Sean, what's next? Well, we know what's next.
Mm,
You quit your job
mm.
and you're gonna go full on with this.
Everything.
We're excited.
From content to comedy and everything that isn't within the sphere of that,
Mm-hmm.
and a few little projects up my keister.
Nice.
Yeah.
Do you plan on having everything here in Dubai, or you want to expand and maybe try to move somewhere else? or
Dubai has
see-
been my home for like over 25 years, and I plan on keeping it home for me. As long as the city would have me, I'll be here. And it's always going to be a hub. Dubai is always going to be like, I get when people go like, all right, I got my elevation and I'm going to, but I'm very nostalgic, and I'm a loyal dog. Like I'll die where I was born.
Mhm.
I wasn't born here, but I'll venture far and wide, but this will always be home. So
Okay.
we'll see where the next steps go. I think America, I'm coming for you, America. Like it's like, probably not the best for an Arab to say,
I know, it like sounds very Osama bin Laden.
but I'm definitely, America's definitely a next move. I don't know in what degree, but
Yeah.
like North America, not just America. Like what's funny, because North America, Canada falls under North America,
Yeah.
Yes.
which is kind of fucked up. It's like America's like, oh, you want to be your own country? Sure. But this continent is America, and I want you to know that. goddamn maple syrup liquors.
Do Americans know that though? That's the question.
Yeah.
Americans
That's a
and
good
their
question.
geography.
That's a good question. But yeah, America might be a next move, and you know, there's
Nice.
definitely some initiatives and projects here which you guys are gonna be a part of, whether you like it or not.
Thank you. I'd love to.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it's more community based stuff. So
Amazing.
yeah,
Amazing.
yeah.
We're happy
Excited.
for you.
Yeah, we're really excited to see how far you go.
Or how far I don't go. I think you're gonna use me as a guinea pig. You're like, well, this guy.
I know, just watching you every day. Okay, so far he's still okay.
So maybe I should
He
quit.
hasn't
too.
crashed and burned.
So we're gonna put all of your ats on Instagram and follow him, and you know,
Your
let's-
YouTube,
Let's support him.
whatever's
He has
there,
more followers than we do, so we'll bring like a tiny piece. of
I
pie
think
to you.
podcast wise, you guys have about 3,000 times more followers than I have. So you'll be helping me out with
We're
the podcast.
getting there. We're getting
Yeah.
there.
You'll help me out with the podcast.
We will do.
As soon as he has his podcast, guys, make sure to follow it. We'll
Yeah.
update the link and we'll shout it out on
sure.
our page as well.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for your
being
time.
Here.
Thank you for having me.
Here, yeah.
Thank you
Gosh,
for
that
having
was so fun
Yeah.
to see him in a whole new light because I only know you
me.
through.
Yeah.
Yeah, like just the my closing statement is like comedians, you know, they get so much rap about, just want to be a funny guy. They're not very smart, they're not the brightest guy in the room. But the way that you spoke today and the way that you entered the podcast and like how you started going off about passion and everything else, it just made me realize like how much like comedians really feel. And like it might not reflect on how it is.
We
on stage.
feel, we feel too.
Yeah, we have feelings too.
Comedians feel too.
As we go on stage, talk about dick jokes, we do like their normal stuff, but then actually off stage, you're like, like there's like so much wisdom, so deep. They really like have a passion for like even the smallest things in the world, and it's so beautiful to see that it's still there. So
Yeah, comedians are one of the most intelligent people in
Yeah.
the world. That's why I married you. Yeah. He's like, oh, cute.
like, can I leave now? Like,
There's always the exception.
Exception to the rule.
Yeah, but thank you guys for having me.
No,
I
that's our
think
pleasure.
what you guys are doing is lovely.
Thank you.
I don't like how humble you guys are being about the whole setup and the house. Like I said, it's a lovely house. You're like, yeah, we're doing what we can. I'm like, no, shut the fuck up. It's a nice house. Like
it's hard for us to take compliments. It's very hard.
so
Yeah.
just take it, okay, with
Yeah.
consent.
Thank you.
But yeah, no,
Consent.
I'm really excited to see when you guys take like this is already a great like this is a lot more than I've been on.
you.
Trust me, I've been around. This is a great set.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
and I'm excited to see you guys have your own studio one day if that's a part of your goal. And if I could be of any assistance to get to that,
We love that. Thank you
Yeah.
so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
thank you very much. Thanks, Max, for not biting my toes. off.
Yeah. Thank you guys.
Thank
We
you
love
guys.
you.